Hi there, Dave Rawlings here of the London Longsword Academy, and today I wanted to have a look at the Fakesteel Armoury Halberd heads. Now, they very kindly sent me 2 of these, and they sent me some gloves, and I'm going to give the gloves a little bit of review later on. It's going to be a very quick review. It's only one item to go through, so it's going to be pretty easy. So for me, I wanted this for training primarily Achille Marozzo, Paulus Hector Meyer and Joachim Meyer polearms of various descriptions. Okay, anything on a stick that's got an ability to kind of like hook up a tiny bit. Wasn't too fussed about the hooking, but I was interested to know how well these hook up. Now, the other things I want to know is how well does this behave against hemoprotective equipment, primarily the mask, because when you're using polearms, honestly, having a jacket isn't that much good against the impact. So actually using control with your partner is far more important, in my opinion. So with that in mind, we've been trying this for quite a few weeks against a standard assortment of fencing masks and really trying to see how they behave. Now, one thing that's very important to say is they did say that you need to socket these. You need to trim the end of the piece of wood as it goes in, and it should fit exactly. But we have no movement in plastic here. It's very, very solidly in. And they said that that'll help it hook up a little bit more. I didn't notice that these hook particularly well lightly, I would say. But if you're used to using plastic or metal, these do not hook up nearly as much, just simply because that can move. And it was this bit that was moving, not this bit, as we went through. So they don't hook up ridiculously well, but then they don't have a very pronounced hook, so you wouldn't expect them to. That did not take away from the joy of playing with them. The next thing I was concerned about was how well the points of these would behave against fencing masks, because obviously there's quite a lot of abrasion as we go through here, and I have to say that maybe because my students are getting pretty good at thrusting in a straight line, there wasn't too much abrasion. These were really just folding up and just hitting straight on, and I observed them over a prolonged period of time, and they really weren't grazing them too much. And I think if you graze them, this will probably deteriorate an awful lot more. Fakesteel Armoury do have a tutorial on how to repair this if that happens. But generally, we found the impacts were going in quite straight and they weren't tearing. There's no tear on this at all, and they weren't kind of rubbing or burring or deteriorating. So I've been very, very pleased with that. Primarily, however, the important thing for me as a polearms enthusiast is that these are really fucking fun to spar with, because you can get punted reasonably hard in the face, and these have got an awful lot of compression space in them. So basically from where my finger is here to the head, that's compression space, and you can really, really feel it, by which I mean you can't really feel it. The absence of impact on your mask is an absolute beautiful thing, and I worry an awful lot about things like concussions over a prolonged period of time within HEMA, and something like this I thought was a really beautiful thing. So aesthetically they're quite pleasing, they're very, very much fun to play with, and I would really like to try more of Fakesteel Armoury's things to see how they play in other formats as well, with the different kinds of swords. But for a polearm, again, you do not get a great deal of hook with these. I don't care. It's a glorified Boopy stick. It makes me very, very happy. So thoroughly recommend them. Thank you very, very much for sending them to me, and I hope to play with more of your stuff soon. Take care.